What if I told you there's a single formula, a kind of master key to success that was discovered by studying over 500 of the wealthiest, most successful people in history? Well, that's the big promise of Napoleon Hill's classic, Think and Grow Rich. And in the next few minutes, we're going to break it down and unlock it together. Let's dive in.
You know, this whole thing didn't just start as a book idea. It started as a challenge, a dare, really, thrown down by a true titan of industry. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men who ever lived, looked at a young journalist named Napoleon Hill and basically said, "I know the secret to wealth, but you're going to have to work to get it." And that conversation right there was the spark that ignited an incredible 20-year quest.
So, what was this secret formula? You see, Carnegie didn't just write Hill a check or give him a couple of quick tips. No, he sent him on an epic journey, a mission that would end up consuming the next 2 decades of his life. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the scale of this project. 20 years, with no salary, just a powerful belief in one single idea. Hill wasn't just writing a book. He was conducting this massive, real-world study, sitting down with giants like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and even presidents, all to figure out what made them tick.
And what Hill eventually discovered was, honestly, a game changer. He realized that success doesn't start with what you do, it starts with how you think. It's a really subtle shift in perspective, but it's incredibly powerful. And it all comes down to one key difference.
Look, we all have wishes, right? I wish I had more money. I wish I was healthier. But what Hill's research showed is that wishes, well, they're cheap. The incredibly successful people he studied didn't just wish for things. They had a burning desire. It was an obsession, something that fueled their every single move. It's the difference between kind of wanting something and absolutely needing to make it happen. If you want a perfect real-world example of this idea in action, you have to hear the story of Edwin C. Barnes. Here was a guy who had basically nothing, except for this one single, totally unshakable belief. He would become Thomas Edison's business partner. It wasn't just a dream for him, it was a decision he had already made.
Just think about the sheer guts this took. He had no money for a ticket? Fine. He hopped a freight train. He didn't have an appointment? So what? He just walked right in. Edison wasn't impressed and basically dismissed him. But Barnes didn't leave. He refused to give up. He was willing to do anything, even sweep floors, just to be in the same building as his goal. Now that is a burning desire.
And see, Barnes wasn't just hanging around hoping for the best. He was actively waiting for his moment. He was preparing. And when that one single opportunity finally came, in the form of an invention nobody else wanted, he pounced. His obsession paid off, proving Hill's whole point. A powerful thought, backed by that kind of relentless desire, can literally bend reality to its will.
Okay, but having a burning desire is one thing. That alone isn't quite enough. Hill knew that for this philosophy to actually work for people, it needed a clear, actionable plan. And that is exactly what he created, a 6-step blueprint to turn your desire into reality.
Now notice all the capitalized words here. Exact, definitely. Hill is absolutely ruthless about getting specific. No vague, fuzzy goals. You have to decide on a specific target, a clear price you are willing to pay, and a hard deadline. This isn't just about making a simple to-do list. It's about literally programming your subconscious mind for success.
But what happens when you hit a brick wall? You know, when all your planning and all your desires seems to lead you to a dead end. This is the moment where most people quit. But Hill offers a totally different way to look at what we call failure.
This brings us to the famous story of the miners who struck it rich. They found the mother lode, this massive vein of gold ore. They thought they were set for life. But then, just as things were getting good, the gold just disappeared. It vanished.
You can just imagine the frustration, right? They tried everything, drilled everywhere, but nothing. The gold was gone. So, completely heartbroken and defeated, they sold all their equipment to a local junkman for a few $100 and just went home, totally convinced that they had failed.
But here's the kicker. The story doesn't end there. The junkman, being a little savvier, decided to bring in an expert to take a look. And what that expert discovered is just the tragic irony of the whole tale. The miners had stopped digging just 3 feet from where the gold picked up again. 3 feet! They were 3 feet away from a massive fortune.
This story perfectly sums up one of Hill's most important lessons. There's really no such thing as permanent failure. There is only temporary defeat. He saw it as a test of your persistence. And, more often than not, your greatest success is waiting for you just one step beyond the point where you feel like giving up. So, when you put it all together, what do you get? It starts with that burning desire,
Then you add a concrete, specific plan. And finally, you have the persistence to push through those temporary defeats. When you combine those three things, you get to the very heart of Hill's philosophy. And it's an idea that can change everything.
This, right here, this is the master key that Andrew Carnegie was talking about. This single sentence is the core of the entire book, the one idea that underpins everything else. It means your limitations aren't out there in the world, they're in your own head. If you can truly see it in your mind and you can believe it in your heart, you can achieve it.
Now, to be perfectly clear, this isn't magic. It's not about wishing on a star. It's a practical, psychological process. It's about taking all the chaotic energy of your thoughts and focusing it like a powerful laser onto one single definite target. When you learn to do that, you're not just hoping for success anymore, you are actively engineering it.
So, in the end, Think and Grow Rich puts the power and the responsibility right back in your hands. It's about realizing that the most powerful tool you will ever own is the one right between your ears. So the final question isn't for Napoleon Hill, it's for you. What are you going to build with it?